Okay. Hello, everyone. Today I'm gonna present a case about cyber attack, and the case was about the Change Healthcare, which is a healthcare company in the United States. The case was happened in the February and March last year, 2024. And yeah, let's get started. First, let's take a quick overview of what has just happened and what are the impact of this case. So actually the case was relatively simple. So what has happened is that the attacker had gained some access for the system earlier, and they're using the credentials tied to the Citrix remote access server that didn't have the multi-factor authentication. So they finally successfully entered into the system. And then at last, they conducted some exfiltrated data before encrypting or disabling the system. The whole process was carried out by a relatively famous group attacker um, called Black Cat. They are using the ransomware as a service of actually as an operation team. So let's take a look what type of is this attack. Actually, there are several components in this attack. The first of all is actually is for sure a ransomware attack. Um, and and again they are deployed by this group called Black Hat. And the second component of this attack is a data exfiltration. That they did that ahead or during the attack. And the third component is the use of credential compromises. They uses the compromised credentials of a remote access service as an entry vector. So what is the impact of this attack? Um, for sure, the first one is the data privacy breach. Um, up to now, up to 190 million individuals had their protected health information compromised. Those including their name and birth date, etc., very private credential information. The second impact is a financial stream. Um, the United Health and Optum, they provided more than $3.3 billion in advance payments to providers to help them get through this cash flow disruptions. So they have to provide some more financial support to all the providers that they have impacted. And at last, and we can predict that for sure we can expect that there is a operation chaos. So the healthcare providers that are across the United States are impacted. So they were not unable to submit claims to get paid or to verify the patient coverage, etc. And you can imagine that the patients that suffer from the delays in prescription pay fulfillment, and they are suffering from unexpected out-of-pocket expenses and some unexpected delays in getting care. Yeah, so these three areas are the basically the impacts of the attack. And yeah, so now let's take a look at some other examples of the similar attack, and also to take a look at what are the ways to improve the system to prevent such attack in the future. Um, yeah, so the first example will be the MGM result case that we have presented in the class. That is a typical ransomware attack in the history. Um, similar similar impact has happened, like the financial strain, the data breach, and the operational chaos that was happened the same year, which is September 2023. And another case that I want to mention is called Latitude Financial, which is a financial institution in Australia. And this case would happen also in March 2023. During this case, there are a credential theft. So the attacker stole the employee's credentials to access a third-party system used by the Latitude company, and then they also deploy some data exfiltration to to destruct the system and steal data from the users. Yeah, and the last case I want to mention is called the Okta support system breach. That was happened in October 2023. So this case involves a compromise of a support account at a third-party vendor. So the hackers gain access to the Okta's customer support portal via stolen credential. And yeah, as you can imagine, similar impact was caused. Um, Last, let's take a look. What are the ways in the future that we take to prevent such attack? And the first one I want to mention for sure is the strong authentication and credential hygiene, which means that we can protect the system with strong multi-factor authentication and enforce strong password policies and rotate some credentials, monitor credential leaks, etc. So that we can have basically a stronger stronger and more secure system. And the second way is to implement the network segmentation or isolation. That means we can have the critical systems not directly accessible from less trusted zones, basically to separate the critical systems versus the non-critical systems, and use some firewalls and implement some zero trust principles. Um, so once the attackers are in, segmentation slows their spread, so limits what they can reach and exfiltrate. And the last method I would say will be the monitoring and detection, the threat intelligence. For example, we can have the good logging, have some audit trails, and the detection for unexpected access. So in this way, like we can have a better monitor systems that can further helps maintain higher security baseline and earlier detection of gaps. Okay, and that will be it. Thank you.